This episode with Coach Sam Marder, we go over how to call pitches for younger pitchers or pitchers with 2 to 3 pitches, and how you can use locations to attack a hitter's timing. So we had a question on Instagram. Someone wanted us to talk about pitch calling for younger pitchers who only have maybe 2 or 3 pitches, and what you would prioritize in that type of situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and you guys can correct me if you disagree, but I really think it's so important to master pitches before to have a few that you master as opposed to having a lot that are just okay. Um,
Absolutely.
it's amazing what a pitcher can do just from hitting location well. And at a young age, it's hard to have stuff that truly moves, through this. And you guys can talk about that obviously a lot working with young pitchers. But I think at a young age, being able to have just the command aspect to be able to hit location the way where you want to be able to hit it. Obviously, being able just to change speed is really a great tool to have at a young age. I don't think you need a ton of pitches at a young age. I think that it's just about, can you command where the ball is going to go, because we all know there's just certain spots in the zone that are just hard to hit, no matter what the movement's like. They're tough. You have to have really efficient swings to be able to hit them. And I think at a young age, this is what people forget. This is what I think that pitchers and hitters both forget, is like the other side is human, right? Sometimes as hitters, we're like, pitcher's automatic, it's a machine out there, it's gonna hit this, hit this, hit this. I'm like, guys, like, this is a human being over there. They are gonna miss. Okay. At some point, probably, right? And as pitchers, you're like, oh my gosh, if I throw it right here, they're gonna just absolutely tee off. And you're like, no, they're not. Like, a lot of times, like, they will miss too. And so I think sometimes you like, it's like, which side can master that mental piece of it. But I think at a young age, if they can learn just how to command what they have, I think it'll go much farther way than having to have all these different kind of pitches.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to complicate it any more than that. Like,
Yeah.
you don't. Great, you have a fastball and a changeup. You don't need anything else. Look at Jolene Henderson. Look at Alana Votter.
Yeah.
Drop change. Both All-Americans. Jolene's a Hall of Famer. Votter's probably going to be a Hall of Famer at Stanford. They are so effective at what they do with just those two tools.
Hey, they're pretty tough. I just want to say that they're pretty.
Yeah,
tough.
no kidding. Like, and like, seriously, you watch film and you're like, why can't anybody hit these two? But they were just so good.
Yeah. Well,
And
they definitely have mastered pitches. Like, Vaughter has
totally.
mastered, and this is the thing that people, I got a chance to really get to, like, we got played against her, right? And it's like just pinpoint accuracy. That was really tough. Besides the ball, their ball like really was tough, like a good movement. Like, but
Yeah.
you're as you said, like, she was really good at mastering what she had, and like incredible at it.
Yep.
And Jolene as well. Like,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. So it's not about having a bunch of tools. It's mastering a couple. And, even at the highest levels, like, those are two examples. They had mastered 2 pitches. But I'd say in general, at that level, you see pitchers that have mastered 2 pitches and have an off speed. Like, you don't really see a lot of pitchers who throw everything.
Yeah.
They all have their tendencies towards 2 or maybe 3 pitches.
Well, and also it's like, I think that there's a misconception of when you say everything, it's like you have to have maybe 5 pitches. And honestly, I really feel like if you have something that moves up and down and change up, if you look at the best pitchers in our game, they have the ability to have true up, true, like, they have a vertical separation component and a change up.
Yep.
And sometimes their vertical separation component is that change up, but it's like up down change. If you look at the best in our game, or just really elite velocity. I mean, if you look at Nicole, right? Like, I know so much more goes into her game than just being like up down change, but it's really tough when you can do this and have an elite changeup.
Yeah.
And I know you have more pitchers than that, Nicole, but like, I'm just saying from a prep standpoint, that's really tough.
I mean, she had one of the best changeups in the game. It,
Yeah,
it,
nasty.
it was so
Oh.
nasty. It would just bite down.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just disgusting. I loved it.
Yeah, and that's another thing to think about too, is when you're talking about what pitches to master, right? Like having a really good changeup is really tough. Like, and I don't know how much development goes into that pitch. I don't know from a young age, but
A lot.
yeah, like
A lot.
that's something I hope that young people are really working on. Like everyone wants to throw like the rise ball, drop ball, all this stuff. But it's like, are you spending that much time developing that off speed pitch, that change up, like that can move? That's a nasty pitch.
Yep. But you can be really effective with that one. Like my changeup sucked. It was bad.
It was not.
It was bad. I have
Yeah.
no problem saying that. It was always my worst pitch. But my
Yeah,
drop was
but
off speed.
also, and I know we're gonna talk about this, but like you also had a really good downward moving pitch and a really good away pitch to righties. And so it still gave that change of speed because of what a secondary really good pitch you had was. So you still were able to, have that change of speed. It just wasn't in a true change up. It was in like a drop kind of curveball.
Yeah.
Action.
So, I mean, well, now we'll just kind of transition into effective velocity, I guess. I mean, Nicole, this is something that you've worked a lot on. Why don't you explain what the effective velocity is?
Yeah, so essentially it's just in, plain simple terms. If a ball's thrown up and into a hitter, it appears to be coming faster. So it's not actually being thrown harder. It just, like if you're throwing 60 down the middle and you throw a rise ball up and in tight, it's going to feel like 65 to a hitter. So the same thing, if you go low and away, that's going to slow down the pitch in the hitter's eyes. And maybe it reads as like 55 miles an hour. So really your 60-mile-an-hour pitch is now 55 miles an hour if it's low and out. So you're able to create separation, with speeds. If you wanted to go up and in and it feels like 65 and then change up low and out, now that feels like 50, 45 miles an hour. And now you have 15 to 20. Oh, wait, math. What numbers did I just say? 65 and I'm going to cut this out, but 65.
Oh, no, we're leaving it in.
50, 15 to 20.
Good
That's
job.
what I said. Okay.
Good job.
Not going to doubt myself next time.
College education right there.
Yeah. 15 to 20 mile an hour difference with that spread. So that's essentially what that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like low and in and up and out, that's like the true speed. Like there's no change in perceived speed.
Yeah, so, and this comes in handy. So back to the younger pitchers, calling pitches for younger pitchers who maybe don't have a changeup mastered. You can use location to attack timing simply by moving in and out, up and down, which can make pitch calling a little bit easier, give you a few more tools to be able to attack hitters. Yeah, so I mean, and that's kind of how Sam called pitches for me, like she was just talking about. I'd have kind of an off-speed down pitch, low and away, and then I'd go back in with my rise. And it's not like I threw super hard, but that allowed me to really attack hitters' timing without a changeup.
Yeah, and you're really good at, like I said, like commanding that. And I think that when honestly, coaching Barty, this was a long time ago. I saw her speak and she talked about effective velocity, and it was the first time I ever really like put into words and explained to me what I was doing pitch calling without me even realizing what I was doing. But it's really an incredible like way to think about it and a tool to use when you're pitch calling. I think it teaches people really how they can effectively call. But for you, yeah, I mean, just being able to hit different quadrants of the zone, as simple as low out, up and in, change speed enough because you had movement on your ball and bite on your ball, right? Like, and you could really be accurate. And I think that again, you're talking about like what kind of pitcher are you, and really buying into that. Like for you, it was important that you hit your location well, because like you said, you didn't have all these different things to pull out to throw, but you were incredibly accurate. You had some really good bite on few pitches, incredibly competitive. And I just don't think you ever gave in either to hitters, and great combination for success.
It worked.
Yeah. But going back to the young pitchers out there, like, I think just starting with being able to command what you're doing could get hitters out.
Yeah. And whether that's fastball changeup or maybe, you know, fastball rise, right? An upspin pitch is going to be off speed. So you can use that to your advantage that way.
Yeah.
So a rise or a curve thrown low and away, that can be your off speed if you don't have it that day.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways you can combine the tools that you have. There's not like one set way to do it. So the way I like to explain it to my pitchers is you have, you know, like a little pie. And so you have location, movement, and change of speed. And every pitch you want to have, your goal is to have 2 of those 3 pieces. And if you can do that, you can figure out how to use those to your advantage, and you're going to be successful most of the time.
Yeah.
Then obviously if you have all 3, it's just easy.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And then on days where you only have one, you figure it out and you find a way to win. Because we're going to have those days.
Right. And that's where that mental part comes in, which I'm sure is a completely different podcast. So.
It's going to be many
Yeah,
of that.
for sure.